Hey, kia ora, Markie here. It would be a complete waste of a location if I didn't at least do a little blog from here, although it's kind of quite difficult to get it all in. Let's see if we can pan around a little bit. I am in the Bane of Briz, or Brisbane in Australia, and I've come here for a conference which has just ended. It made me laugh actually because the conference is ANZATSA, which is Australia New Zealand Association for the Treatment of Sexual Abuse. So it's a conference around sex. So what I noticed, I tried to get a photo of this. There were billboards for another conference or a convention that's on in town at the same time, which is called Sexpo, which is a kind of a conference all about kind of sex and kind of hedonism. So I thought I needed to kind of clear up the myth of which one I actually had attended, and I attended the serious one. So I've been on my best behaviour. So we've got aircraft noise and all sorts now. It's winter here, so it's really lovely days. It's been really sunny, but it gets dark really quickly. It's kind of quite weird for a pom like me who's used to long kind of periods of dusk or gloaming, as they call it in Scotland, dimpsy as they call it in Devon. Here it happens really quickly, so you'll probably see the light change as I talk, and kind of lights have come on, so street lights and kind of ambient lighting has come on just while I've been talking, and you can hear the birds doing their thing. There's some amazing birds here. So I don't know if I've got anything. There's lots of things I want to talk about. Maybe I just do a little preview of some of the things to come. Maybe, except for I can't remember them. My brain has gone to conference jelly. Conferences are interesting things, aren't they? I have some controversial views about the field of psychology and academia. So one of the things I mean to do at some point, I've written an article on this, which is available on LinkedIn, which is called The Over Appliance of Science. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about that actually, and then leave it at that really. Just leave you with you. Just really want to check in with you guys really, because I haven't been able to put any videos out or anything for a little while. So psychotherapy, because I'm a psychotherapist, I'm not a psychologist. Sometimes people think I'm a psychologist. So what's the difference between a psychologist and a psychotherapist? There's a video on that. If I remember, I'll put it in the links below. Which also explains the difference between psychiatry, counselling, and I think I might even have thrown a few others in. I might have thrown social work in there as well. So people say that psychotherapy and to an extent psychology is a blend between an art and a science. Okay. So what my article was essentially about is how I think things have become a little distorted, or more than a little distorted, in that the study of psychology particularly has become very scientifically orientated. What's wrong with that? I hear you say, science is good, isn't it, Markie? What could be wrong with science? The objective, seeking of evidence and proving hypotheses and all that kind of thing. Well, I would say that psychology, and particularly psychotherapy, are a bit like economics. They're not a pure science, and they can't be a science in the same way that chemistry or physics is. Partly because you can't observe things to the same degree, and things are so subjective. Okay, so I'm a kind of, I like the days, back to the days when this field was informed as much by art and informed by literature and by great theorists, people that had ideas, thinkers, whereas now it's informed by researchers. And I've just been to, it's been a fantastic conference, but some of the presentations are kind of people presenting kind of facts and figures from a study that they've done with almost no meat in it. And the kind of the psychologists in the audience are kind of lapping it up because they're kind of research nerds. They want to know how it was conducted. Okay, I don't give a shit about how it's conducted. I mean, I can see why there is a need for good research, and the art, research is an art and a science in itself. I guess that's something else. There's also an art and a science. But for me, I just want the conclusions. And I sat in one lecture for, it probably wasn't 45 minutes, but it felt like 45 minutes, where this was about a really interesting topic. So it's about recidivism. in sexual offenders. So obviously we've got facts and figures about, when people, sexual offenders are released from prison, say, what's their rate of reoffending, and what's their rate of reoffending if they have treatment. And generally speaking, the rate of reoffending is quite low, and it's noticeably lower if people have treatment. So when people say, oh, does this treatment work? Yes, it does, and we do have evidence for that. That's good. That's where science is my friend, okay? So that's all jolly good. So interesting thing is what's the degree of undetected recidivism, because we say, people, have been successful and they've not reoffended. Excuse the hand, because I'm actually leaning against a tree to shoot this. How do we know that, they haven't reoffended and they just haven't been detected? And of course, obviously that's going to happen to a degree. We can only measure it on what we can measure, things like convictions, arrests, charges. So I sat and done this lecture which went into great detail, real kind of complex statistical, mathematical stuff, and basically concluded that, well, we know that, people do, there is undetected crime, but there's no way of calculating what that is. Now, I can't remember the Donald Rumsfeld thing, but I know people kind of took the piss out of Donald Rumsfeld when he was talking about unknown knowns and known unknowns. To me, it kind of made some sense, really. There's things we know we don't know, and there's things we don't know that we don't know. So that's really, it was 45 minutes of my life kind of explaining that we don't know something. Whereas you could have just told me that, really. So, what these academics, they are up their own arses, a lot of them. And they need to kind of, they do some fantastic work, but often they don't translate it into, things that we can understand, which is where I come in. This is where the demystifiers of the world come in. Apart from where they baffle me so much that I don't understand it, and then I can't demystify it. I actually need a demystifier. I need an assistant demystifier, and then I will be the meta demystifier. So if anyone wants to be a demystifier for me, send me your CV, and I'll consider you for the post. You can come along to all the lectures that I go to and read all the books and papers. You can explain them to me, and then I'll kind of explain them in my own kind of chaotic way with nice backgrounds. So that is all I'm going to say. I am back to my current home of Aotearoa day after tomorrow. I've got a day of leisure tomorrow, so I'm hoping to get on a river trip. So my accommodation is being downscaled because I was just kind of in a reasonably nice hotel paid for by my employer, but now I'm on my own budget, so I'm in the backpackers hostel, but I'll be literally being sold down the river. So greetings from sunny Queensland, Rangimarie.